In this video, I'm going to be giving a summary of what is to be done in the Cape Entrepreneurship Unit 1 research paper. Firstly, let me mention that the Cape Entrepreneurship research paper is one of the requirements of the Cape Entrepreneurship examination. Now, to access information about the research paper, my recommendation is for you to consult the Cape Entrepreneurship syllabus, and the syllabus can be had from CXC's website, which is www.cxc.org. So if you do not have an existing copy of the syllabus, I'm recommending that you go there, download a personal copy, and it is totally free of cost. Now, what are you to do in this research? Well, you, the candidate, is expected to do an investigation, that is to research something that you would like to find out. So there may be some lingering question, there may be something that you want to find out about entrepreneurship. It may be, for instance, a particular entrepreneur who you consider to be quite successful, and you want to have an idea as to what it is that would have driven this person to the level of success that he or she would have attained. And so that right there, you may put together a research theme which will speak to that, and then you would proceed now to do your research based on that. So how do you begin your research? You first of all need to have a theme. You need to have a research question, something that will be driving the research. You need to have this essentially would be your aim. Now, in addition to that, you need to have your objectives, and the objectives will be had from the aim. As is outlined here in the course material, it says that the candidate is to have a minimum of 2 objectives. So you'll have your aim, you'll have your objectives, and they should have a minimum of 2 objectives. And then now you will need to have the questions that you will pose to the interviewee. The interviewee is the entrepreneur that you have an interest in, that you want to interview. The thing further is that you, the candidate, is the one who will be responsible for coming up with the questions that you will pose to the interviewee. And I should say here also that the candidate is not expected to write a bunch of questions on a sheet of paper, or in some document on a computer and submit that to the entrepreneur. No, it is supposed to be an interactive process. So the questions will be formulated. And how do you come up with the questions? Well, the recommendation is that you will look at your objectives. So you'll have, let's just say you have 4 objectives. You're going to look at your objectives, and based on what each is saying, you're going to go through the syllabus. So for Unit 1, there are 3 modules. So there is the entrepreneurial mindset, the entrepreneurial process, and the creativity and innovation. That is why it is important to have a personal copy of the syllabus. So here, my recommendation is to take the syllabus, look at it. So go, for instance, to the entrepreneurial mindset, go to that section, look at what it covers, and then try to formulate questions that you will ask the interviewee based on the content covered there. Additionally, go to the other section, go to the entrepreneurial process, that section on the syllabus, look at what it covers, and formulate questions based on the content there that you would like to pose to the interviewee, that's the entrepreneur. And finally, the same thing with creativity, the section dealing with creativity and innovation. Grab the syllabus, look at what it covers, and try to formulate questions based on the content covered in that section that you would also like to pose to the interviewee, that's the same entrepreneur, in an effort to complete your research paper. Now, the primary means of capturing your data will be an interview. Now, going to the entrepreneur, it should be scheduled. So the candidate should make contact with the entrepreneur in advance schedule an appointment. And here again, I recommend that persons, rather than just targeting one person, have a list of let us say 5 persons, because it is possible that one may approach an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur may in fact say yes, but really doesn't have any intention of actually carrying through on that. And so it is good to have a contingency of it is good to have a plan in whatever you're doing, including what you're doing here now. So have a list of entrepreneurs, of prospects, I would refer to them as. So you approach, let us say, the one that is your top priority, and let us say that for whatever reason that person is not able to deliver within reasonable time, then you would have already had a list. You proceed to the next person and you continue like that, right? And hopefully you will not have to exhaust the list. Now, having collected the data, and by the way, to collect the data, if you're going to be recording the interview, you must have the consent of the interviewee, that's the entrepreneur. In addition to that, my recommendation too is to be able to build confidence and to be able to develop interview skills. I would recommend that you can do role play. So like in your household, among your family members, you can probably do a role play with a family member of an interview to help to build your confidence. You can also go on YouTube, look at videos in which persons are doing interviews, especially more esteemed video productions, to get an idea as to how persons typically go about doing an interview. So the body language, the gesticulations, how they pose the questions and so forth, and hopefully that will assist you in that respect. Now, having collected the data, I should say too that it is important to have a notebook, have a logbook that documents everything that is being done as it relates to your research. Now, you've collected your data. How do you now put the research together? And that's simple. It comes back again to the outline in the syllabus, and here it is. So here it is. This is the outline, and this appears to be page 46 in the syllabus. So this is the outline. So in writing the paper, this is the outline that the candidate will use to present that information. In addition to this now, it is important to have a research team. I would say. Now, your research team should include, first and foremost, that person who is a language specialist, because you want to ensure that you're having that person who will be vetting your work for grammatical error, because a research paper is intended to be a very formal document, and so it should be done in a particular way, and of course it should certainly be devoid of grammatical errors. Additionally, the research paper should have things like your abstract, your introduction, you have the body of the research, you have your conclusion, and I would cover these sections in other videos. And of course, that person who is a language specialist, who may also be an expert in doing research papers, will be able to assist in giving expert advice in this area too. Additionally, on the research team, maybe that person who may give assistance with typing, with collecting data. That person, the team may also include somebody who is good at analyzing data, doing tables, different graphs, and being able to summarize the data. So there you have it, your team. And of course your team is not necessarily limited to the category of persons that I just mentioned. In addition to that, following on page 47, there is an outline of how the marks will be awarded for each section. And notice here, and this is why too, again, back in coming back to what I mentioned earlier, the importance, how important it is for the candidate to have a copy of the syllabus and to be following the syllabus religiously. So it outlines the amount of marks which will be awarded for each component in the research paper. Now, an element of the research is that the candidate will be expected to do an oral interview with the instructor. So here now in the classroom, so let me just emphasize here now that two things will be done having collected the data by the candidate. One, a written paper will be submitted. Two, the candidate will be expected to do an oral presentation or an interview with the instructor in the classroom. Now, for this interview that will be done with the instructor, it is that the candidate will give feedback on the experience he or she would have had during the interview. And again, as I would have done before, you can do role play. You can look at videos of interviews to get to assist you to be orientated to interviews, so that you become more comfortable with it, and you do your practice to reinforce certain strong points to enable you to have the best possible outcome. So that's basically it. Let me just check my checklist here. So you'll have your research topic. You'll do a thorough research, based on the topic. You'll also organize the information in a structured manner, and I would have mentioned the outline during the syllabus. Have a clear introduction and thesis statement, your findings and your conclusions, you draw your conclusion. And as I mentioned, these areas I would have covered them in separate videos. So I would recommend that you consult those other videos in this series. It is a 10-part series. Alright, so that is basically an overview of the Cape Entrepreneurship Unit 1 research paper.